Today we are going to be talking about the best time-lapse construction videos. Number 1 will blow your mind. He begins with large stacks of light, medium, and dark hardwood boards. He runs each board across a jointer, removing uneven areas and creating one perfectly flat face and a straight edge. This gives him an accurate starting point. Next, the lumber passes through a thickness planer, bringing every board to a consistent thickness before he cuts them into long, narrow strips. He separates the strips by color and carefully arranges them into matching groups. Then, he spreads an even layer of wood glue across each surface. The strips are pressed together and secured with long clamps. Once the glue cures, he removes the clamps and scrapes away the hardened glue squeeze out. He runs the newly glued panels through the planer, flattening their surfaces. He then applies more glue and combines the panels into thicker laminated blocks. After clamping and drying them again, he cuts the blocks into precisely angled sections. Every cut must remain consistent for the final pattern to align properly. He rotates the angled pieces and arranges them into repeating groups. The placement of the light, medium, and dark hardwood creates the foundation of the illusion. He glues the angled pieces together, places clamps across the panels, and applies even pressure. After they dry, the surfaces are flattened and cleaned again. Next, he cuts the striped panels into smaller, evenly sized sections. He turns and rearranges them, and the repeating three-dimensional cube pattern begins appearing. He carefully adjusts each section so the lines and colors continue across the entire board. Once everything is aligned, he glues and clamps the final pattern together. After the final glue-up dries, he removes the excess glue and trims the rough outside edges with a track saw, giving each board a clean rectangular shape. He uses a router sled to level the uneven end-grain surface. The boards then pass through another smoothing machine to make both faces flat and consistent. He shapes and cleans the outside edges with a handheld router. Next, he hand sands the sides and uses an orbital sander across the top and bottom. He continues sanding through progressively finer grits, removing scratches and preparing the wood for its finish. The cube illusion is visible, but the colors still appear muted. Now, he pours food-safe oil across the surface. As the oil spreads, the hardwood becomes richer and darker, bringing the three-dimensional design fully to life. He finishes by applying protective board wax and buffing the surface. The result is a collection of handcrafted end-grain cutting boards with an incredible cube illusion. Moving on, let's check out number 4. Greater Than This project begins with an empty lot and an excavator preparing the ground for a brand new home. From above, the home's shape slowly begins appearing as the foundation is measured and formed. Crews work around the site while concrete is poured, creating the strong base that will support everything above it. Little by little, the foundation walls are completed and the interior spaces begin taking shape. Once the foundation is ready, the open center is filled and prepared for the home's first floor. Wooden floor framing now stretches across the foundation, completely changing the look of the job site. Next, the first walls are raised into position, finally revealing the beginnings of an actual house. More exterior and interior walls are added, forming the rooms, hallways, windows, and doorways. The second level begins going up, and the structure grows taller with every new section of framing. Roof trusses are placed across the top, creating the home's roofline and bringing the entire design together. What started as an empty piece of land is now a fully framed home. This landscaping project begins with the removal of an older stone border that has become uneven and partially buried beside the house. The workers pull out the loose stones and clear away the surrounding plants, roots, and soil, opening up enough space to rebuild the area properly. As they continue digging into the slope, more of the old material is uncovered and removed. The loose dirt is gathered into a pile while the ground underneath is shaped into a wider, cleaner work area. Once the space has been cleared, they begin measuring the placement of the new retaining wall. Levels and guide markers are used to keep the wall straight and prevent it from following the uneven surface of the yard. The first large blocks are positioned at the bottom of the slope, creating the base for everything that will be built above them. This first row takes time because every block needs to sit evenly before the project can continue. With the base established, additional retaining wall blocks are placed across the area, following the natural curve beside the house. The blocks are staggered as each new row is added, giving the wall a stronger structure and a more finished appearance. The workers repeatedly check the placement, make small adjustments, and secure the blocks as the wall grows. What began as only a few blocks gradually becomes a wide, curved retaining wall surrounding the garden bed. More sections are added along the sides, allowing the wall to blend into the existing landscaping instead of ending abruptly. Once the main structure is complete, the open space behind the wall is filled with the soil that was removed earlier. The dirt is spread across the garden bed and carefully leveled, giving the plants a more stable area while the wall holds the raised ground in place. The workers also reshape the lower section of the yard, clearing away extra soil and smoothing the ground in front of the finished wall. Tools, unused blocks, and loose debris are then collected from the work area. The video also shows additional stone and materials being recovered from a larger pile and loaded onto a trailer, ready to be transported and reused. By the end of the project, the uneven slope and scattered rocks have been replaced with a clean, solid retaining wall that supports the garden and completely changes the appearance of the side yard. Before we continue, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the Just Fix It Daddy YouTube channel for more content like this. Comment down below what kind of video we should do next. This room makeover begins with the space being measured and prepared for a complete transformation. The walls are still covered in their original beige color, while the ceiling shows the visible drywall seams and patched areas left from earlier work. The first stage focuses on brightening the entire room with a fresh coat of white paint. Using a roller attached to an extension pole, the painter covers the upper walls, corners, and areas around the doorway before working his way down toward the floor. As the paint spreads across the room, the old beige color gradually disappears beneath a much cleaner white finish. Special attention is given to the edges around the doors, trim, outlets, and ceilings so that every section receives even coverage. Once the lighter base is complete, the design begins moving in a completely different direction. A deep charcoal color is rolled onto selected walls, creating a bold contrast against the white sections of the room. A second painter joins the project, and together they cover the larger wall surfaces while carefully working around the doorways and corners. The doors are painted in the same dark color, allowing them to blend into the accent walls instead of standing out in white. More of the room is transformed as the charcoal paint is carried around the window wall, leaving the trim bright and creating a sharp frame around the natural light. After the walls and doors are finished, the remaining white areas are touched up to create cleaner lines between the two colors. The floor is swept and cleared of dust, paint, and leftover materials before work begins on the next part of the makeover. Dark underlayment panels are arranged across the exposed subfloor, forming a new base for the finished flooring. Each panel is positioned closely beside the others so the surface remains covered and consistent across the room. The finished flooring is then brought in, measured, trimmed, and fitted along the walls and doorways. Individual sections are carefully placed to continue the pattern without leaving uneven spaces around the edges. By the end of the project, the original plain room has been completely changed through the combination of bright white walls, dramatic charcoal accents, matching dark doors, and a clean new floor. What started as an unfinished beige space now has a bold, modern appearance with strong contrast throughout the entire room. This stage of the home build focuses on the HVAC and plumbing rough-in, bringing in the systems that will eventually provide heating, cooling, ventilation, and running water throughout the house. The work begins outside, where the ground is opened and a large section of drainage pipe is positioned below the surface. Inside the framed home, the HVAC crew brings in long sections of insulated flexible ductwork and begins spreading them through the different rooms. The ducts are unrolled, measured, and routed between the wall studs and ceiling framing so air can eventually reach every part of the house. Upstairs, a large HVAC unit is carefully lifted into the attic and positioned on a raised platform. Once the equipment is in place, the crew begins connecting the ductwork and arranging the different lines around the unit. More flexible ducts are pulled across the attic, while larger metal sections are assembled to create the main path that will distribute air through the home. As the HVAC installation continues above, the plumbing crew begins working throughout the rooms below. Red and blue water lines are run through the exposed framing, creating separate routes for hot and cold water. Drain and supply connections are installed for the future sinks, toilets, showers, and other fixtures. In the bathroom, plumbing lines are placed inside the walls before a bathtub is brought in and fitted into its framed opening. The water connections are organized around the tub and shower area so they will remain hidden once the walls are finished. Additional valves, drains, and supply lines are added across the house, gradually turning the empty wooden framing into a functioning network of plumbing. Back in the attic, the HVAC crew adds insulation around the larger metal ductwork and secures the remaining connections to the main unit. The equipment and ducts are carefully arranged between the roof framing, leaving space for future access and maintenance. By the end of the rough-in, the house still looks unfinished, but many of its most important systems are already taking shape behind the walls and above the ceilings. Once drywall is installed, most of this work will no longer be visible, even though it will continue serving the home every day. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you saw, go check out our other videos on the Just Fix It Daddy YouTube channel.